What's good with it? Lucky Lefty podcast, Honora Boys in the building, brought to you by Honora Whiskey. HonoraWhiskey.com is that premium American whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure that you do so responsibly. You got to do it responsibly. We are on CFB Nation as always. That's where we reside, and we're presented by Twisted Tea. A. That's right, man. That's where we reside. Apple Podcast, Spotify. We give you audio edibles each and every day for consumption right here, Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know we spin it different. Today, we hear from Vince Henson, interim coach for the Oregon State Beavers down at the Sun Bowl. Marcus Freeman has some very interesting things to say about the wide receivers, new wide receiver coach Mike Brown, and also new offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock on today. But then, second half of the show is Get to the Bag. If you have your Get to the Bag questions, make sure you hit GTB or type in GTB with your comment and your question. We'll get to it in the second half of the show. And then, as always, you can super chat us with a question or a comment. We greatly appreciate it. We thank you guys for tapping in. We're almost at 4,000 subscribers, man. We've done it independently. We're tremendously blessed, even with everything we had to deal with, being off schedule a lot of the time this summer, not being able to properly launch the website the way we wanted to, luckyleftypod.com. You can go there, lock in with it, bookmark it. We got some apparel on the way. As I said before, a brand new podcast that will be debuting at the start of the year. You know, it's kind of like a Lucky Lefty podcast after dark type of podcast. We'll be talking about Notre Dame a little bit, but we'll be getting into subjects that we really talk about on our phone calls and in our text threads, not only with Left, but former players and things of that nature. I promise it's going to be some fun conversations, man. The conversation surrounding our poll question from yesterday, it continued. And it was a great conversation, man. Great conversation. I'm still shocked that medium rare won out when it comes to the best way to present or prepare prime rib or steak. But it is what it is, man. You learn something new each and every day. Lucky Lefty podcast. So let's start out with Marcus Freeman, and we'll get to Vince Henson, who, by the way, this Sun Bowl press conference, I just want to say this. You talk about two fantastic representatives for programs to stand up and speak to the media. This was about the best, one of the best collective press conferences I've seen by two head coaches. Two impressive individuals. I mean, just impressive individuals. You can tell they have great, what they stand for. They have great integrity, and the love that they have from their players. Man, you can tell it comes across. It definitely comes across. So I just want to salute both Marcus Freeman and Vince Henson on the way they presented themselves to the media earlier today down in El Paso, Texas, which, by the way, I hear the weather is not, what people were expecting, but I'm cool with it being in the 60s. It doesn't have to be 85, 90, 60, 65. That sounds like a South Bend, October, early November day. Notre Dame should feel right at home. It should feel right at home as long as it's dry, not wet, and the Fighting Irish can get the run game going, which I fully expect. Yeah, it should be a great day. I'm looking forward to a 2 o'clock start. Don't forget that 2 o'clock start tomorrow. I believe the game will be on, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's on CB. I don't want to say the wrong network, but it's a 2 o'clock start. Notre Dame Fighting Irish take on the Oregon State Beavers out of the Pac-12. All right. As I said before, Malik was en route to the home base, and he estimated that he would be back at around 6:30. That's why we set the time at 6:30 for the show instead of 6. I'm sure he has to come in, get there, traffic, all of that. So when he gets home, he's home. Well, you're going to rock out with me. This is how we always do it. Left's not here. You are my co-host. Let's get it. When Left is not here, you are my co-host. So let's get it right now. Let's go to Marcus Freeman. And one of the interesting things he talked about earlier in the press conference that, I think is really interesting is the opportunity. Because he was asked about the opportunity for Charles Jagusah, right? Starting at left tackle. And he had something great to say about Charles Jagusah, but he was like, opportunity is here for everyone tomorrow. Not just the freshmen and the young players, but also our seniors.
Opportunity, right? There's guys that this is going to be the first time starting for Notre Dame, and there's also guys that this is their last time playing for Notre Dame. And I think every single person that's going to have an opportunity has a different opportunity in front of them, but grasp yours. And so if you're a first-time starter like Charles Jagusah or left tackle, you know what? Go show that you can be the future left tackle of this program. That's why you're going to go out there. Right, and we have a strong belief in him. But also you think about the J.D. Bertrands, the Javante, Jean-Baptiste, the D.J. Brown, the Milk Benson. I can go on and on about the guys that have chosen to make this their last game. They didn't have to play in this game. And they've chosen to make this their last game. And so they have an opportunity right in front of them that I want them to grasp too.
Yeah, we are live on Facebook as well. I just felt like putting it on my Facebook feed tonight. You all right? And we'll be on Lucky Lefty Pod on Instagram each and every day, starting in the new year, simulcasting or simulpodding. I just made up a new phrase there, along with the YouTube page. Don't forget YouTube, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, smash it for us, then subscribe. Right, get us to that 4K, so we can start the march to 5K. And then hit the like button, share, notification bell. Every time we go live, you'll already know we spin it different. All right. Very interesting there that the opportunity that's put before not only Charles Jagusah, but that look, yes, establish the fact now in the Sun Bowl that you are the next great left tackle. You love to hear that from Marcus Freeman. You love to hear that from Marcus Freeman, right? The opportunity for Charles Jagusah to establish himself, but then the opportunity for the seniors to cement their legacy, especially the senior class, J.D. Bertrand and the guys are going out. Cement yourself, DJ Brown. You've had the best season you've had. We can talk about the drop interceptions and the untimely missed interception against Ohio State that probably would have sealed the game. But despite that, he's had a very solid season, probably solid enough to find his way into an NFL camp, more than likely as a free agent, right? Because he probably won't get drafted, but he'll find his way into a camp, become a special teams guy in the NFL and maybe stay in there for 3 to 5 years before he goes on to the rest of his life and gets the full benefit of that Notre Dame degree. So very happy to see Marcus Freeman point out not only the opportunity for the young players, but also for some of those seniors. And the next young player he was asked about, look, he's my pick. He's my pick for MVP tomorrow. I was really struggling, guys, and I'm going to talk about that. But I was struggling to find or figure out who the MVP, because I wanted to go with 18 because of the opportunity. I wanted to go with a guy in the wide receiving core that has been kind of showing up in practices. And then I thought, man, Xavier Watts is playing. Benjamin Morrison could have a couple of interceptions. It could be a defensive guy. And I finally settled on this guy. Marcus Freeman was asked about him and the opportunity that the guy we call 12 that sits in that second seat next to Audric Estime in the film room. You know what I'm talking about. Jeremiah Love. This is what Marcus Freeman had to say about him.
The different things you can do with Jeremiah varies from what you're going to ask Audric to do, right? And we're going to ask Jeremiah to do some things that we asked Audric to do, but also some things we didn't ask Audric to do, where you can use him in different positions. You can obviously try to get him to the perimeter. I mean, his speed is elite, and so how can we find different ways to get him in space and get him the ball and say, go make a play? Those to me are the ways you kind of expand the offense with Jeremiah Love.
Expanding the offense. Look, Jeremiah Love is not the same type of running back as Audric Estime. I think we all saw the clips of Notre Dame getting him into the passing game in bowl practices, right? That's something we might be able to expect. Expect more screen plays, whether it's out to the left or right, maybe even middle screens. I would love to see some of the old school Lou Holtz screens, right? Where they would bring the outside receiver across and get him in the middle screen. Be creative, yet safe. Get back into that screen game because I believe Oregon State is going to come out fired up. And I think you'll expect that when you hear from their coach, Vince Henson, in the second half of the show. Man, very impressive young man. I'm looking forward to see his Oregon State Beavers take the field on Friday at 2 p.m. But yeah, I'm very encouraged by Jeremiah Love and having a full game plan behind him as a starter, right? And then Jadarian Price with him as like 1A, 1B, or just co-ones, if you want to call them that, because that's how they're kind of lined up on the depth chart. And I'm looking forward to what he can do, right? He's going to have more, probably double the kick, not carries, but just double the touches than he's had in any previous game. I think his high touches for a game, if I'm not mistaken, was 9 on the season. So I look for him to get anywhere from 18 to 20 touches in this game. And he's a home run hitter, right? I'm looking for him to break off at least 2 or 3 runs over 10 yards and possibly 2 or 3 runs over 20 yards in this game. Absolutely, especially with Oregon State missing their 2 best linebackers coming into this game. I definitely think Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love are going to make some hay and put in some work. All right. Once again, Lucky Lefty Podcast prediction and best bet show. We're going to get the best bets for the game right now. Put them in the chat. What's your best bet for the game? This is your chance to be a prognosticator. Like your best bet for what's going to happen defensively or offensively for Notre Dame tomorrow. We want to hear from you, LL Nation Notre Dame fans. What's your best bet going into this matchup tomorrow? Marcus Freeman also was asked about, hey, first-time starter. He was right there on the edge, man. I almost gave him the nod as my pick for the MVP of this game and my predictions. Marcus Freeman in the first-time starter. Steve Angeli. The players have showed extreme confidence during the week. Coach Freeman, what are you expecting from number 18?
Do the things that have put yourself in this position. And to me, he's earned the right in practice to be Sam Hartman's backup. And in the opportunities that he's played in games, he's done really well. And so you got to be Steve Angeli. Don't be Sam Hartman. Don't be anybody else. Be Steve Angeli. Take care of the football. That's always a big thing for me. Take care of the football. You know what? One play, one life. You guys heard me say that plenty of times before.
And how much tailoring of the offense needed to be done? What in terms of adjustments for his style?
No, not much. Not much. Obviously we have 2 new tackles, and but the wideouts all have experience. And I think as you look at our 2 backs that are going to be playing, that's probably where you start looking, where a light tailoring has happened. But I don't think what Steve and Sam do really well is really going to change what we do offensively.
That's an admission by the head coach that there are certain things that Steve Angeli does better than Sam Hartman, in my opinion, right? Or they have different ways that they impact the game. I told you guys, man, the Steve Angeli I saw in the spring and that I reported right here on this podcast is not the Steve Angeli I saw in the limited snaps he got. His confidence is on a whole nother level. And I don't know if that's a tip of the cap more to him or a tip of the cap to quarterback coach Gino Guidugli, right? So let's just say for right now, they share in his development that we've seen. And you heard Malik say yesterday, like at this point, there are no pups other than CJ Carr in that quarterback room. Kenny Minchie is not a pup. He's not. He's not a pup at all. And he said so in his conversation with Malik. I'm ready to go right now. And to hear that from Kenny saying, yo, if I need to start this game and I need to play, I'm ready. So, you want to hear that. And I wish that it was a fair quarterback competition going into the spring with Riley Leonard coming in. But with NIL, the investment that's being made, I mean, look, it is still the responsibility and accountability of Marcus Freeman as a head coach to put the best guy on the field in the spring, regardless of the situation. But the business of college football and maybe even the politics of football might say something a little bit different when it comes to that quarterback competition. But the focus is on 18. I'm glad that there's extreme confidence. He said something else. By all means, Steve Angeli, I know you're probably not going to watch this or see this, but please do not be like Sam Hartman. Hey, you guys might want to put me on a petty train. I do not want to see any more of anything that resembles Sam Hartman in a gold helmet at quarterback. I got my fix. I'm good. Totally fine with him opting out of this game. Totally fine. Go ahead, take your money. I'll see you at the pro day. I hope you have a fantastic pro day in front of all of us in the Notre Dame media. We'll be pulling for you. We'll be rooting for you. Hope you get drafted third, fourth round in the NFL and go on to have a nice career in the National Football League. Those are my hopes for you. As far as seeing you at the helm of the Notre Dame offense, those days are done. And I couldn't be happier. I could not be happier. Thank you for what you did. Kind of fell below what we expected we would get out of you. But man, thank you anyway. Now it's time to move on to the future of this program. That is Steve Angeli, Kenny Minchie, CJ Carr, and coming soon to you, that dude Deuce from down south. I might call him, oh, he's the, wow. I think we just found a nickname. I wish Left was here, LL Nation. I think we just found a nickname for Deuce Knight. I might have to call Deuce Knight that Deuce and a quarter. Right? Deuce, class of 25. Get it? The Deuce and a quarter. That cat, Deuce Knight. I might have to call him Deuce and a quarter. We might have come up with his nickname, dude. I'm going to have to hit him on the inbox on a text message to see what he thinks about it. His dad would probably love it, especially being from down south. I don't know if Deuce would like it because that's kind of before his time. He would have to be a classic man to really appreciate the Deuce and a quarter nickname. But I'll check it out. We'll hit him up and see if he likes it. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Once again, your best bets for the game, put them in the chat. We're going to get to those shortly. Your best bets for the game, best things or things that you think are going to happen in the game. Your best bets, whether it's special teams, offense, or defense. Let us know in the chat. We'll get to those shortly. Marcus Freeman. Yo, this is what I love. He talked about Mike Denbrock, and Mike Denbrock flew down, I believe, yesterday, spent time with the team, watched them practice, spoke to the team, and then he flew out this morning, headed back to South Bend to get more settled and get things in place for his family. So with that being said, Marcus Freeman has some incredible things to say about the process, giving kudos to Pete Bavacqua, giving kudos to Jack Swarbrick and the rest of the administration, and then talking about his longtime coaching friend, Mike Denbrock, going all the way back to Cincinnati.
You know, I'm really pleased with how quickly it worked. You know, it worked out, and you know, obviously want to give credit to our administration and Jack and the commitment they've made to make sure that we can hire the best possible candidates to come into this program. And so obviously me and Mike go way back in terms of, not way back, but 4 years together at Cincinnati. And you know, I've seen with my own eyes the great offensive coordinator that he is. And so to get him here and a part of our program is exciting. He was here yesterday, flew in yesterday, spent some time with the coaching staff and met the players, and then flew out today. But just to have him back in South Bend as our offense coordinator leading our offense is exciting for the future of our offense.
What do you remember about preparing against each other when you were coordinator?
Yeah, it's competitive battles, right? And you're talking about in the spring and fall camp, and it's offense versus defense, and there's a couple glances across the field, you know, that you can non-verbally get a message across to somebody. And I know we had a couple of those, but you go into the locker room, man, he's a team guy. And, You know, that's what I respect about Mike Denbrock. He is a competitive person, and he finds a way to get his best players involved in what it's going to take to have success. That's the thing. It wasn't, hey, here's my system, let's recruit to it. It's okay, who's the best players and how do we get them the ball? How do we find ways to do things that fit their skill set?
Yo, it sounds very similar. Lucky Lefty podcast. Hearing Marcus Freeman and his comments about the competitive nature of Mike Denbrock, the ability of Mike Denbrock to get the ball or to scheme, especially in big games, a way to get the ball to his best players and his playmakers. That's what great offensive coordinators do. It gets you excited, but it reminds you, just in case, you can go back to our show that we had with Cam McDaniel and MALIK'S ZAIRE on Saturday, I believe. And when they pointed out, look, we both played under Mike Denbrock, and they echoed, or Marcus Freeman echoes, what they said about Mike Denbrock as a quarterback and running back that played under Mike Denbrock. His ability year to year to go from having wide receivers like Michael Floyd, but then having the strength of the team being versatile running backs / wide receivers like Theo Riddick, and finding different ways to get the ball to him in the slot, outside, screen game, out of the backfield, in the run game, in the backfield. This is the strength of Mike Denbrock. And now, I guess with Marcus Freeman being the head coach, that little view from across the field during practices is going to be Mike Denbrock versus Al Golden. That's pretty impressive, right? The tip of the caps, like, you got me on that one. Good call. You anticipated that. That's going to be fun to watch in the spring and in the fall coming up this year in 2024. I'm looking forward to that, Irish fans. Like what he talked about, the competitive nature, because I think Al Golden is very competitive. Very competitive. And to have those two going back and forth, sharpening each other, right? Making each other better, can only make the players on the field better, can only make the players on the field that more competitive. Yo, once again, kudos to the administration. As Marcus Freeman said, thank you for having his back. Thank you for going and getting the guy that he wanted from the jump and not putting Notre Dame Nation through another hiring that is like, yo, below the expectations of the fan base, right? Because I think whether it had been Mike Denbrock or reportedly Kirby Moore, I think the only holdup with Kirby Moore was whether or not he actually called plays in Missouri, or whether or not it was Coach Drinkowitz the majority of the time. That was really the only question that a lot of people had. We broke it down. The Missouri offense is very similar to what Marcus Freeman wants to do in expanding the offense, right? Get a running back or get a running game where you can use them out of the backfield in the passing game. But then Missouri ran the ball 53, 54% of the time. And that's a little bit where Notre Dame wants to be. They really don't want to be that. Last year they're at 60, this year kind of 56, 57. I think Marcus Freeman wants to cut that down another 2 to 3%, get it to about 53%, maybe even 52%, and then go big plays, 48%, have an efficient quarterback that can take advantage of the football and man-to-man coverage and play action down the field. That's what he wants to get to offensively, in my opinion. All right. So when you hear that and you hear what Mike Breen, I'm sorry, I'm still thinking basketball from Christmas Day, Mike Denbrock brings to the table, you have to be impressed. You really have to be impressed. Lucky Lefty podcast, right? What else do we have left from Coach Freeman? Oh, yeah. Not only did he not talk about Mike Denbrock, but man, yo, I'm hearing that new wide receiver coach, Mike Brown, yo, when he was official, he came in hot. That's right. Marcus Freeman talked about it.
Dove into the scene. He first day we announced him as hired, he went and he grabbed him, and he dove right into that group, which is important, right? Because trust is earned. Right, trust is earned, and he dove right in to earn the trust of those guys, and a big part of that is being on the field with them, coaching them, not trying to see just coaching them from the minute they stepped on the field, and that's what you respect he wasn't worried about anybody's feelings. He wants to make this group better, and I've seen really a belief. Right, it's not that have they gotten better. It's been 7, 8 practices, but it's the belief they have in a coach, that trust, that relationship that I think is so important. I've seen it develop right away.
Yeah. Look, I love hearing that. I think all of us love hearing that, right? That's the one. If there was a group that we wanted a coach to come in and literally grab them and shake them up, right? Shake off the previous, get them ready, and pour into them immediately, it was that wide receiver room. It was that wide receiver room. A lot of young players, a lot of talented young players, right? Jordan Faison, KK Smith, Jaden Greathouse. Then you got Deion Colsey, loving the opportunity to watch him play healthy for the first time this year. Jade Thomas makes his return from the issues with the hamstrings. Super excited about what we're going to be able to watch in this Sun Bowl at 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon. And for everybody that hit it up in the chat, thank you so much. To confirm, it is on CBS or Paramount Plus. CBS, Paramount Plus, 2 o'clock from El Paso, Texas. It is the Sun Bowl. Notre Dame takes on the Oregon State Beavers. Once again, Lucky Lefty podcast, Marcus Freeman talking about wide receiver coach Mike Brown. And one of the things that I love, and maybe the reason he chose to be or to come in hot, is because there was youth there. And because they did come off a very difficult situation as a position room with the way things were handled with the transfers and the guys that left the room, and then also the situation with the previous coach. So he had to be very intentional in what he wanted to establish now. He could have been a little passive and waited. I do remember when he met with the media. Let's see, do I have that clip? Because let's pair that, because that would be great reference for you guys to have. I'm trying to think if I have it here. Let's see if this is it. I think this might be the clip. Uh, the growth he wants to see from the young wide receivers.
Began some game planning and things like that. And, a lot of the plays that are run here are plays that I'm familiar with. And so I may not know the terminology. I've been fortunate to work with Coach Gino Gaduli for some time at Cincinnati. So sometimes he'll have to translate some things for me. But so I'll do a little bit of my input that way. And then, just teaching things, the way that I know them. Obviously after running it through with Coach Parker and the rest of the staff. And so it's going to be a team effort. You talk about rotation, you talk about who's going to be where. I mean, they have a much better feel for the group right now than I do. And so I'm going to lean on that. I'm going to rely on that. I'm going to trust that. And then, we'll just grow from there.
Now, maybe, I'm glad I played that for you guys to give you a reference of his initial plans going in, where it seemed like he was going to be more passive and not really insert himself the way Marcus Freeman made it sound like he inserted himself once things became official. And it seems like Marcus Freeman might have had a conversation with him or the rest of the staff and said, yo, do your thing, bro. Don't hold back at all. And I love hearing that. I love that they laid the game plan or opened the doors up for him to come in and be him. Like, hey, do you. We got your back. Don't worry about us. Yeah, we got the game plan set. We really don't need anything from that standpoint. But go coach and coach those young guys hard. Get them ready for this opportunity. Get them ready for this game and get them ready for this next season in 2024, the spring and the fall. Bodes well for this team. Bodes well for that room, right? Because guys in that room, no matter what they do in the Sun Bowl, more than likely, they're going to have 2 to 3 veteran guys that have production in college football coming in that are going to be taking snaps away from them. And that's the competition. It's like, yo, wake up. The time is now. This tape and this game, these reps in these games matter. They matter for you guys because you have some guys come. Chris Mitchell is coming in trying to be the guy. Bo Collins is coming in trying to up his stock for the NFL. It is what it is, right? So you guys need to make sure, you come in and you take advantage of this opportunity, because it might not be as sweet come springtime, because the numbers are going to be back up and the competition is going to be hot. And that's why Mike Brown, in my opinion, was kind of given carte blanche by the offensive staff and Marcus Freeman to, hey, be you, be relentless, attack this head on. Don't be passive, as he said in his initial press conference when he met the media. Man, I'm not going to go at him too much. No, coach. No. Coach these dudes. Coach them up. Come in hot. Get on them, because they need it. They need it. It's time to play championship level football at the wide receiver position at Notre Dame. And hopefully that starts this Friday at 2:00 on CBS in the Sun Bowl. Lucky Lefty podcast. I think we have one more clip from Marcus Freeman. And it's the old adage in any sport is you want to be strong up the middle, right? And I think even with the youth movement, that Notre Dame is going to be really strong, inexperienced, but they're going to be really strong up the middle on the offensive line next year. But with the return of two guys, Marcus Freeman is ecstatic about being strong up the middle on the defensive end as well.
Important, huge. Those two are, we always say you want to be good up the middle, right? And this can be in baseball, it can be in football, it can be on defense. And when you talk about those two guys that have started going on 3 years now for our defense, they're the foundation of what we do. And so to have those guys back for this game and for the future, I think will do great benefits. Will have great benefits for our program.
I agree. And I remember I asked the other day, I believe it was on Monday's show, like how you guys felt about the return of Riley Mills and Howard Cross possibly taking snaps from the young, talented defensive linemen. And most of you guys didn't have a problem with it. You didn't equate it to the quarterback situation. You didn't equate it to any other position on the team. You guys said, I think there's a need there for leadership, number one, from those two guys on the defensive side of the ball in 2024. And you still will be able to get like Devon Houston, Brennan Vernon, Armel Mukam, Gabriel Rubio, he's in the rotation as is anyway. So it really doesn't impact him, even though he's probably going to fight to get even more snaps and stay healthy, because Rubio just dealt with injuries this year. That's really what kept his snaps down. But I think it's a great move if they got those kids to come back. And I think it's gonna benefit Notre Dame very well. Lucky Lefty podcast. I want to talk about something, guys. Help me out, right? Who's your MVP? Who's your prediction for MVP of the Sun Bowl? If you have your GTB questions, make sure you type GTB, your comment, your question. We'll get to it at the end of the second half of the show. Who's your MVP if you had to predict it? What's your best bet for MVP? Sorry that the screen keeps shaking, man, because I'm trying to find your comments about the best bet. Once again, go to YouTube, Lucky Lefty Podcast. The thumbs up, smash it for us, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We greatly appreciate you. We respond to all comments, man, because we appreciate whether they agree or disagree with us. We respond to all. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. Rich, thank you so much for tapping in, bro. Rich said Angeli rushes for a touchdown. Heck, he's done it in both blue and gold scrimmages that he's participated in. He's played very well. in his limited snaps. I can see that. Tony Solomon, thank you for tapping in. Raritan scores multiple touchdowns and opens holes for 12 and 24. I would love to see nothing more than both of those things come true, Tony. Absolutely. I want to see both of those things come through. I'm just glad to see Eli Raritan back healthy, man, right? Just love to see him back healthy. And his number is really in tight end lore at Notre Dame. Like, if you wear the number 9 and play the position of tight end, you have to be a dude, right? You got to be a dude. And Eli Raritan could end up being a dude tomorrow. He'll definitely be MVP if he catches multiple touchdowns. He has a chance, shall I say. Maybe best bet, Marcel. Indy defense gives up no more than 10 points, and Jaden Greathouse, Jordan Faison will have big games. Steve Angeli will have a game. That's his best bet. I would love nothing more than that. Man. D-Rock Irish. I don't know if this is a wish or a best bet, but D-Rock Irish says hope for a 3-quarter pounding and bringing Minchie in to run the offense in quarter 4. I think everybody would love to see that, right? Absolutely. TD4ND, best bet, love over 150 yards. Is that 150 yards rushing or 150 yards total? Rushing and receiving. Let me know, TD. I'll take either way. I honestly would. I'll take either way. Tony Solomon doubling down. Defense score by one of our cornerbacks. That's a really good bet. If that is a prop bet that's up, Xavier Watts or one of the other defensive backs for a pick 6, especially with a third-string quarterback, I could rock out with that. I can rock out with that. Let's see. Coleman? Oh, I'm glad I just saw this. Coleman Smith, longtime listener and watcher of the show, part of LL Nation. Hey, LL, I just got the date of my heart surgery. It's February 14th on Valentine's Day. Appreciate the late night work, XD. And I appreciate you and how you supported us through everything from the time we first started. And I speak right now that everything will be in order during your recovery, during the operation. And divine healing is upon you, man. We appreciate you. I think LL Nation has the same sentiments towards you right now. We're all praying and pulling for you. Coleman Smith, be blessed, my brother. Be blessed. Absolutely. Let's see if we have any other best bets that you have. Any other best bets? All right. On the other side, we'll get to your MVPs. Hopefully, Left will get in. We'll get to your GTB questions. And then we're going to talk about, hey, guys, stick around because we're going to have a nice debate, right? The finalists were announced for the 2024 Hall of Fame class that will be announced the weekend of the Super Bowl. If you could have a 2024 Ring of Honor, 5 guys that you could put up if there was a Ring of Honor at Notre Dame Stadium, give me the 5 guys. Just think about it, because we're going to get to it on the other side. Because I'm very interested in seeing how you guys might think about this, man. Don't forget audio edibles each and every day. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, tap in. Man, make sure you get the automatic download and just listen to us, man, while you're running, working out, in your car, traveling during the holidays. You got to have Lucky Lefty Podcast in your dome, in your earplugs, man, or just playing on your speaker. You know, Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know. We spin it different. We'll be right back.
Ready, down, put. Touchdown.
Lucky Lefty podcast. I had to put that little clip up to give myself a nice transition. You know, I had to get me a squig and a little bite of an apple. We appreciate you guys for joining us tonight. This is our prediction show. I'm pretty sure, guys, Left is going to want to talk to you guys before the game tomorrow. So I'm just going to go ahead and make the executive decision. We'll probably be up early tomorrow with a pregame show right here on Lucky Lefty Podcast YouTube, right? And I'll stream it also on the Instagram page. Go to Instagram and follow us. Go to Twitter X and follow us at Lucky Lefty Pod. You can visit luckyleftypod.com. Left is going to be putting up a story on his conversation with Kenny Minchie. And also, I think he's going to put up some video as well. He had a conversation with Kenny Minchie right around Christmas. And if you don't know that story, Kenny Minchie wears the number 8 at Notre Dame because of MALIK'S ZAIRE. So they have a special connection. They had a special conversation over the holiday. MALIK'S ZAIRE is going to give you some tidbits from that conversation. And we're going to wait to drop that probably after the bowl game. On luckyleftypod.com. And it's going to be part of our launch for our Patreon for our Lucky Lefty podcast after dark, man. We're going to talk about a lot of things. I see you guys are lighting it up with your 5 to go in the ring of honor. I cannot wait, man. Cannot wait. Yeah, I'm a Tecmo Bowl head, man. I had to do the Tecmo Bowl transition. And we started it. And we kind of went away from it. But, you know, if you guys like it, I might bring it back. Man. This is the time of the show where I would tell Left, you know what time it is. But, you know, you guys are my co-host tonight. So, LL Nation, you already know what time it is. That's right. What's smoking right now is hot off the press. NFL released its finalists for the 2024 class. And I have to tell you, man, look, if I had to give a grade for a finalist list, this year's list of finalists might just get an A from me. Like literally, I couldn't find one person on here that I could definitively say, nah. True story, right? Let's start with Antonio Gates, longtime tight end with the then San Diego Chargers, Julius Peppers, the Carolina Panthers, and the Chicago Bears, and the Green Bay Packers, Devin Hester, several teams, but he's a Bear for life. Torrey Hope, Rams, Reggie Wayne, he was the backup or the 2 when Marvin Harrison Sr. was there. Then he became the main guy for Peyton down in Indianapolis. Andre Johnson, he was the Houston Texans for a long time when they had struggles, like Andre Johnson was that dude. And he put up crazy numbers with, name his quarterback. Was Matt Schaub his best quarterback during his time with the Texans? I mean, really? Yo, Jared Allen, Minnesota Vikings, like the dude with the lasso, the cowboy hats, the cowboy boots, 69. Yo, he was crazy, man. He was crazy. I saw this guy and I said, yo, I love the way he gave it his all and he walked away from the game. I wish, I don't, because I wanted 52 that was walking away from the game at the Super Bowl down in New Orleans in 13. I believe it was 13. I'm happy he got the championship on the way out the door. But I really wish, and I would have been happy if the other 52 on the other side of the field had walked away with the championship, because he was a champion and a super competitor. None other than Patrick Willis, man, linebacker for the 49ers, man. P. Will was a dude for a long time in the middle of that 49ers defense, man. That fantastic 49ers defense. Yo, salute to P. Will, man. Fred Taylor, he's not just part of the media. Fred Taylor, you check his numbers, right? You know about Keenan McCardle, you know about Mark Brunell, you know about the passing attack they had, right? Jimmy Smith, But that cat Fred Taylor, man, was the foundation of that offense, man. He really was. Everything went as Fred Taylor went, right? And he put in work. So underrated for a long time as a running back in NFL. Salute to Fred Taylor. Let me tell you something, man. The White Freeney out of Syracuse came in and took the NFL by storm coming off the edge. Woo, 93 for the Colts. The Colts have two guys on the list. That's actually super dope. I don't really like their owner, but hey, tip of the cap to the two Colts on this list. Darren Woodson, hey, Boilermaker. Boiler up to all of those that might have gone to Purdue and be Boilermaker fans in the chat or watching the show. Not Darren Woodson. I'm thinking Rob Woodson. Darren Woodson. I mixed them up. Darren Woodson, longtime Cowboy. Yo, you talk about 28, him in Washington and what they provided, and Brock Marion and what they provided from the safety position for Jimmy Johnson and that legendary Cowboy team defensively, right? Darren Woodson was a longtime stalwart on the back end, right? Man, I was locked into that Rod Woodson intro too. That was a good one. Man, too bad it was Darren Woodson. So, Darren Woodson, man, he deserves it. Congratulations to him. Chicago Heights own Marion Catholic High School, 5 minutes from the crib where I sit right now. Shout out to 37, San Diego Chargers, New England Patriots. Man, you did not want to see this dude coming across the middle in yesterday's NFL. Rodney Harrison. Shout out to Rodney Harrison, man. CHI, baby. Glad to see him get recognized on this finalist list. Jari Evans, man. One of the best interior offensive linemen. So quiet, gentle giant. Man, what he did for that New Orleans Saints offensive line for years. Man, Eric Allen. Man, you had Jerome Brown. You had the Minister of Defense. Seth Evans. All types of all pros. And Eric Allen was just out there on the island week after week and put in work for the Philadelphia Eagles, man. And he is, let me tell you something, man. He is just as good of a guy as he was a football player. Just happened to know him, meet him several times, man. Salute to you. Willie Anderson. Woo! You talking about a big dude. Woo! Willie Anderson, offensive tackle. My brother, man, you put in work. And yo, shout out to the Bengals, man, for getting somebody on this list. Shout out to him, man. He is he's to be respected. He really is, man. I don't think people, when you play for the Bengals, man, you kind of get pushed to the background. But yo, that dude deserved this. Now help me, guys. Out of that list I gave you, can you find anyone definitively that you flat out just say, nah, nope, they don't deserve to go into the Hall of Fame? I can't. This is an A minus at worst list of 15 finalists for the class of 2004. And I'm going to give you my 5. I think 5 of these guys make it. I'm going to give you my 5, and I think the others will make it because they'll be back on the list next year. But my 5 that are going to make it this year, without a shadow of a doubt, I think Antonio Gates makes it. I definitely think Andre Johnson makes it. I think Patrick Willis makes it. I think Dwight Freeney makes it. And this is the tough one, man, right? Usually they like to make sure that an offensive lineman gets in. So for the 5th guy, I think it comes down to Willie Anderson. I think there's going to be a huge push for Devin Hester to get in. That first major special teams guy to start opening the door for other guys that are special team specialists and make an impact on the game. So the three I think it will come down to for that fifth spot, because I'm predicting 5 guys: Devin Hester, Willie Anderson, and Jari Evans. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but that's just my prediction. And with that being said, the question, LL question of the day, you guys, give me the 5 guys going in your ring of honor if there was a 2024 class. If you were going into the 2024 ring of honor class for Notre Dame, who would it be? D-Rock Irish, Era, Lou, Montana, Brown, Bettis. I get no argument out of me. Not with those 5. Coffees for closers. My wife would love that name. Theismann, Dave Casper, Joe Montana, Rocket Rice. So Coffee's doing all players, no coaches. All players, no coaches. Nathan, let's see, Nathan, who you got? Tim Brown, Joe Montana, Rocket, Jay Bettis. You need one more. Nathan, I gave you 5. So you get one more. Let us know who you're adding to the list. Anthony Solomon. What's up, Anthony? Rockney, Era, Lou, Tim Brown, Joe Montana. It's not bad. You went with 3 coaches. Indy 9 says Montana, Tim Brown, Tony Rice, Lou, Manti. Manti makes it in. Okay, for the first group. All right. Hey, man, I appreciate that. We are not Marshall. Hey, man, we appreciate that, man. Thank you for your support. Yes, man, share the podcast, man, with your friends and family. Yeah, we're marching on. We're going to be over 4K soon, marching on the 5K, man, because of you guys. You're the greatest college football fan base in the world. It's not even close. Let's see if we have any more. Okay, Michael Park says add Todd Light to that list. And John Massey, our guy. Manti, Tim Brown, Michael Floyd, Bettis, Montana. Okay. Once again, going straight players. Thomas Adams, I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. Free was very sharp at the press conference today. Spoke eloquently, smart man. He will continue to grow as a head coach. I agree with you. And he believes that Notre Dame is going to win 35-13. All right. Yeah, my prediction, I gave it to you guys early in the week because it was put out, or I had already turned it into IB. 31-13 is my prediction. Definitely 31-13. D-Rock, thank you for the update on the Kansas State game as well during the chat. It's nice to see former Notre Dame target Avery Johnson, the true freshman at quarterback, getting some run for Kansas State in that game. Ron Tuck puts his 5 out. We are not Marshall puts his 5 out. Bavaro, Brown, Bettis, Mayer, Montana. Michael Mayer making it to the mix. Ron Tuck says Bryant Young, Bobby Taylor, Todd Light, Jerome Bettis, Ricky Waters. I like it. Thank you guys, man. Let's get to it, because the other side of this coin on press conference day was interim head coach Kafence Henson, and he was just as impressive. And believe me when I tell you, watching the entire press conference is worth it if you have not watched it. So go watch it before the game sometime tonight or early tomorrow. Kafence Henson, interim coach for the Oregon State Beavers. I fully expect him to be a head coach. I would love for him to, after watching this press conference, I'm like, man, can we get him on this staff? I was thoroughly impressed by this young man. And this is what he had to say about Notre Dame. But then I'm going to play you a clip that was so impressive that I almost wanted to grab it and say, I wish Notre Dame could have this attitude. Here's Vince Henson, interim head coach for the Sun Bowl for the Oregon State Beavers on Notre Dame.
Well, when you put the tape on in Notre Dame, they're a really good football team. They're well coached. Defensively, they play with a lot of upperclassmen. I think they got like 9, 10 seniors starting on defense, which is awesome. And in college football, with it being so transactional now, like you don't see that. Guys sticking through a program and staying for 4 or 5, even 6 years now with the COVID deal. So that's impressive. That's kind of the program that we think that we are, a developmental program where you can get guys in the program and get them in the system, and so they're better for it in 3 to 4 years. So I admire that from afar. As a college football fan, I think Notre Dame speaks for itself, so it's really cool and exciting to coach and play against them. And in terms of getting ready for a quarterback that you don't have a lot of snaps on, you just got to dive into the tape, try to find as much film as you can. With technology now, you can pretty much make a cut up of any player that's ever played college football. You can find as many snaps as they got, and then you just coach it from there. And at the end of the day, as coaches, all we can do is prepare our guys as best we can, and it's a player's game. Once you get in the game, then we got to be able to make adjustments. They got to be able to make adjustments, and then you kind of go from there. But
Yo, I love it, man. Football is football, right? I love that type of coach, man, that stands for the media and like, dude, I know you guys have questions. You want me to give you a great quote. You want me to say something really eloquent that you can go to print with. Man, this is football at the end of the day, right? They got things to do. They're looking at our players. They're scouting our players. We're looking at their players, scouting their players. We got cut-ups of Steve Angeli. We're figuring out what we want to do, what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are, because he has weaknesses. We know they have a true freshman playing at left tackle. We have bookends that have been one of the best pass rushing duos in all of the Pac-12 in the nation. We know our advantage, even though we're missing our linebackers, even though we're missing one of our safeties and a defensive back. We know we're down, but guess what? It's still a game. Our job is to get our players ready. I'm telling you, Vince Henson, man, he was absolutely impressive the way he handled that press conference, man. Just like Marcus Freeman, man, no excuses. Yeah, we're starting a third-string quarterback, but you're getting no excuses from us, right? Love the way he talked about his team. I love the way he talked about Notre Dame, because I can read between the lines. He's like, we watch film. Hey, regardless of whether or not both of us had opt-outs, we're coming to play. But, man, they got some dudes. And honestly, they might have more dudes than us. They probably have more dudes than us. He knows. He knows. Vince Henson, see, he didn't cop a plea. Remember last year when we laughed because we played the clip of your boy Dino Babers up there at Syracuse talking about Notre Dame bleeding into the game? And we were like, yo, this dude is already copping a plea before the game. He already knows what's coming. He already knows this beatdown. This offensive line is about to put on him and his smallish defense. He knows. And he's trying to, man, say sweet nothings in the media to get Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame to take it easy on him, which they did not. Vince Henson, you can tell he's a competitor, man. He's like, dude, yeah, it is what it is, man. We know the advantages they have, but yo, let's go. Kick the ball off. We'll let the chips fall where they may. Lucky Lefty Pie. Well, I didn't want to play that clip again, but Vince Henson, look, this is, ladies and gentlemen, watch this clip of this man being asked by the media how he feels coming into this game, and as he talked about his team being an underdog to a program like Notre Dame. If this answer from this young man does not make you fall in love with him and his approach, I don't know what else will. Interim head coach Vince Henson talking about the underdog label? Nah, I don't rock with that.
To be honest with you, man, I'm not into the underdog thing. I think it's really cliche. I think anybody anywhere can claim that. I just think it's got to be something inside of you that has the confidence to know that when you step on the field, you should have an opportunity to win a game. I'm not into throwing the underdog card out there to try to motivate. You know, if you're not motivated to play in this game against this team on this stage, then I probably can't help you, you know. So I don't really look at it that way. Our guys have confidence. We've played a lot of big games. We've played really good teams on our schedule. Notre Dame is another one. And honestly, it's about our process and our preparation. And I think any good team will tell you that. Like, it's more about us than it is the opponent. Obviously, we got a lot of respect for our opponents. They give us an opportunity to see where we're at. But I'm not so much, I'm more self-driven, I guess, in terms of my message to the team and what I want their process to be than I am about, you know, what the outsiders think about this game. Because the game's not played on paper. It's not. And that's where you build the underdog story, right? You look at the roster, who they got coming back, who we got coming back, who they played, I'm not into that. That's just not how sport is, right? You put two teams on the field, you don't know who's going to win. It always cracks me up when I look at ESPN and they got that percentage of win at this moment in the game. How you figure? Like, I just don't understand how you come up with those metrics in a sport like this. And so, hopefully that answers your question. But I'm not into the underdog piece.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, yo, hey, yo, Henson, hey, give this man an interview as your next head coach for your football program. Man, let me tell you something, bro. I heard that and I said, let me listen to this again, right? Because there's only so far you can really go with that us against the world. That's why, dude, that whole stuff that Michigan was the victim role, Michigan players were trying to play this year and all. None of that matters in this playoffs. Nobody, Alabama doesn't care about that. You wear the t-shirts, the free hardball t-shirts, all of that. Wear it. Play the victim. Be the underdog. You got to walk on that field and stop Jalen Milroe. You got to walk on the field and stop that duo of running backs. You got to walk on the field and stop Isaiah Bond. You got to stop those bookend pass rushers. That's what you have to do. You struggled to stop Chop Robinson and the Penn State pass rushers. That's why you didn't throw the ball in the second half. You can't hide from it now. You can't hide J.J. McCarthy in this game. No, can't do it. All that underdog stuff, man, Vince Henson, I could not have said it any better myself. Absolutely. The win probability thing during the game, that's for betting. You know why that stuff is there, right? For betting. In game, during the game, apps, all that stuff. That's there for business purposes. But man, what he said there about the underdog, I agree, man. The story is on paper, and that's why it ends up on paper, right? The story ends up on paper because the story is only about what's on paper. Who's on their roster? Who's coming back? Who opted out? He nailed it. And none of that matters because at the end of the day, you got to play the game. Football or any sport is not won in a story. It's not won on paper. It's not won in an app, in an article. Football games and sport are won on the field. And it doesn't matter what my prediction is, doesn't matter what anybody else's prediction is. We're going to watch a bunch of 18 to 21-year-olds decide the fate of their programs and their teams in the Sun Bowl at 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon. That's what it comes down to. Competition, man. Competition. And unless you're a poetic laureate, this is not a competition decided on paper. It's just not. Lucky Lefty podcast. He had one more comment, and that was on his third string quarterback and the confidence he has in his starting quarterback for the Sun Bowl.
I think if you talk to a lot of coaches and they're playing with their quote unquote third string quarterback, there'd be some anxiety there. Well, our guy started a bunch of games for us, won a bunch of games for us, played in big games for us, and has been successful in big games for us. So I think really from a coaching point, we've got a lot of confidence in him. But more importantly, I think our players have a lot of confidence in him. And I think that matters more than anything. If the guys that you go play with believe in you, that's a big deal. And so we have that with Ben.
He's right. Ben Gulperson, man, who's the starting quarterback, has played in big games for this program. So it's not similar to, even though, he was third string behind DJ Uiagalelei and Aiden Childs, both who hit the transfer portal as soon as head coach Smith left to go to Michigan State. We can talk about his stats right now. He's played, so he won't come in. I don't think he's going to be rattled facing Notre Dame. Kid is 6'3", 215 pounds. Nice sized kid. 2022. He had 221 attempts for 195 attempts, completed 62% of his passes, threw for 1,455 yards at 7.5 yards a clip or per pass. 9 touchdowns. He does turn it over though. Now see, 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Right? 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions with a rating of 134.8. And then 2020 limited snaps, he was 6-9 for 64 yards with a touchdown. So there you have it. You have a young man that has played before, played in big games, probably won't be scared, but I'm not sure that he has enough around him. They have some missing offensive linemen that opted out. The running game, bolstered by that big monster they had in the backfield, he opted out. So I don't know if it's going to be a lot put on his shoulders if Notre Dame can shut that run game down early and let him throw the ball, because the stats say he will throw the ball to the other team. That's what the stats say, right? He has a 2-to-1 interception, touchdown to interception ratio, right? 10-5. Usually 2-to-1 is good, right? But when you only have 190 attempts in your career, 5 interceptions, that's not the interception per pass or per attempt ratio that you might want. So the Notre Dame secondary should be licking their chops, especially with the Oregon State. Even if they have their main guys, you feel comfortable with Jaden Mickey, Christian Gray, and Benjamin Morrison at defensive back. But early on, they're probably going to try Jaden Mickey, especially deep. They're going to take some shots on him, try to set it up, go away from Benjamin Morrison. And, Gulperson, who's played big games and taking big snaps, you have to take his confidence, right? Pressure him, get him rattled, and then, watch him kind of self-implode, because he's shown that he'll throw the ball to the other team. But Vince Henson is very confident in his quarterback, very confident in his third string quarterback. Lucky Lefty podcast, man. So let's get back to some more. We'll get to your GTB questions in a minute. I want to make sure. Tom Balork said, I can't believe I'm going to be rooting for Bama. That's a lot of Notre Dame fans coming up this weekend. No, Florida State, no way they should have made it. And look, at this point, they lost all my support when they started acting like whining crybabies, man. I think you guys had some more entries for the Hall of the Ring of Honor. I'm trying to find those. Give me a second. Give me a second. There you go. Sean Paulus, my guy. I knew I saw yours. Tim Brown, Tony Rice, Rocket Montana, and another vote Another vote for Manti Te'o. Another vote. Tom Ballork, yours. Tim Brown, Rocket. Derek Brown, nice. Bobby Taylor, okay. And Tony Rice, nice. Some new entries in the Ring of Honor. Yeah, I agree, ND9. I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, what he said about being an underdog, and a lot of times, I'm glad this just really brought something up in my mind, man. The underdog mentality that a lot of Notre Dame fans like to have. Because you know, in Notre Dame, nobody likes us. Everybody hates us. And ESPN doesn't like us. None of the commentators are saying anything positive about us. And it creates this underdog mentality when the truth of the matter is Notre Dame is a top 10 college football program, right? With all the limitations, it's fair to say that Notre Dame is a top 10 college football program. And with all of that being said, man, it is something that I wish we could remove from the Notre Dame fan base when it comes to the program. Because, like, we're not underdogs. I mean, we're underdogs when we face on the field, when we face teams like Ohio State or Alabama. You know, I don't feel like an underdog when we face Clemson. I don't feel like an underdog when we face USC, right? And by the way, I saw a lot of Notre Dame fans on social media last night throwing a lot of love to Miller Moss. So I had to watch the game today. That kid doesn't scare me at all. Please bring him on. Please. I don't care how many touchdowns because you see he threw 6 touchdowns and you watch the game. You see short field turnover, short field block punt, short field another turnover. So it's like 3 of the touchdowns. Like people are making it seem like this dude was just marching up and down the field for 6 touchdowns. And I'm watching the game like, okay. And then I'm watching the game like, no, his arm is average. Like he's okay. He's pretty athletic, but his arm talent is average. I'm like, he's lofting balls that should have been picked off. And I'm like, please, if this is the quarterback that USC is going to roll with next December or next November, please bring that dude on. Please. With the defensive backs we have, please bring him on. By all means, bring him on. And Malik and I, because I know Malik is going to bring this up. All the Notre Dame fans, all of a sudden, calling Louisville trash. Come on. That's contradictory to what you were screaming at myself and Malik on this show. When we told you, despite the loss, Louisville, they're not about to hold up. That team they're not really that good. And the last 4 games, you know, because November is when you prove yourself as a team. They kind of showed who they were. Right? All the little Dixie or the pixie dust, shall I say, dried up. They had nothing else in their magic wand. And you saw who Louisville really was. Right? Now, some of you might say it was a bowl game. They didn't care, this, that, and other. All right. Okay. All right. And I have nothing. I'll do. Salute to Miller Moss and what he put in his first start. But if that dude with that arm talent is what we're going to face, I'm not scared at all. You know, Notre Dame fans were talking like, oh my God, dude, this kid is great. The USC matchup is going to be tough. And I watched the game and I'm like, okay, let's bring some context here. Like, first of all, coaching matters because that was the first time all year that the USC defense actually looked competent. First time all year. that they actually look competent. So, man, I tip my cap to the new defensive coordinator, the new coaches on the defense side of the ball for USC. You have to agree, Lincoln Riley needs to. Reggie Brooks said this, right, when he was on with us a couple of weeks back. Marcus Freeman needs to do a better job of understanding the other side of the ball. And I feel the same way about Lincoln Riley. He needs to do a better job of understanding the other side of the ball. And yeah, it is what it is. I mean, dude, let's be honest. Louisville lost to USC, they lost to Pittsburgh, and they lost to Kentucky. Uh, 3 bad losses, dude. So, yeah, man. Update, D-Rock Irish, thank you. Avery Johnson must be looking good. K-State has 28 points. I know I got Kenton Gibbs, who's always with us right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast, is probably throwing everything. His Kappa canes, hats. He's probably tearing up the crib watching his North Carolina State Wolfpack trail Kansas State in the fourth quarter with 2:48 left. Yeah, if you guys go watch his post-game show over on Locked On Wolfpack, I'm sure it's going to be very entertaining. Oh, that's good to hear. Avery's killing it. That's what's up. Notre Dame made a push for the kid, too. They did. Kansas State did a nice job holding on to that kid because Notre Dame definitely made a push. And this was before Kenny Minchie reconnected with Notre Dame and eventually joined the class. And Notre Dame made a late push at Avery Johnson. And I'll say one thing about him, man. He has his hair is all right. He has some flowing locks coming out from under that helmet, man. If he can play, he's definitely going to be box office in Manhattan, Kansas. Definitely going to be box office. John Massey, you must be telling lies on this podcast. There is no way the Pistons are beating the Celtics by 19 at half. Are you kidding me? The Celtics had to rest like 5 players for this to be happening. Guys, look, you know how I am. I always let you guys in on my life, right? So my baby girl, she's getting ready to go back to school, man. And yes, she's a USC Trojan, but I still love her. I've yet to put on, you guys will be happy, I've yet to put on any USC apparel in 4 years. Be proud of me, right? But I got to dap up my baby girl in the middle of the show. This how we do our thing when we leave each other. Have a safe flight, baby girl. We love you. I'm a father before anything, guys. Not even this show comes before me being a father. Sorry. Had to get that done. Lucky Lefty podcast. I started to put up a 20-second transition and get up. But they say safe travels, baby girl. She said, thanks, guys. She appreciates you guys. But we had to get our little handshake in before she left. So where are we at, man? Predictions. Yeah. What are your predictions for the game tomorrow? You gave your best bets. You gave me your ring of honor. What's your prediction? What's your prediction? Give me your scores. I already said mine is 31-13. We had a 35-13 earlier in the show. And what's your predictions for the game? I just talked to Malik as well. Malik, he told me I could share with you guys. He actually moved today. A blessed year, TV. We've been blessed and continue to be blessed with what we do here on CFB Nation. Yo, God is good. God is good. We're going to be launching our merch really soon and our Patreon. Hopefully you guys support that. But God has been extremely good to us and our growth on this show. So we thank you for your support. And with that, him and his family were able to move. I don't know if it was the penthouse in the sky, like the Jeffersons, but it was definitely something that they were looking forward to. And today was moving day. He thought he would be finished. He apologizes. He wasn't able to finish up. They're still doing some things. And he said he'll see you guys early. I knew he was going to say this. He said, I'll see everybody early tomorrow and he's going to give you the 3 keys to victory, keys to a dub. And then he's also going to give you his clean sheet. He's going to give you his first 15 plays or the layout for the first 15 plays for Steve Angeli and Gino Gaduli as the play caller. All right. So congrats to Left and his family on their move. And I'm so happy you guys got to see my relationship with that little girl, man. Y'all pray for me, man. She walks across that stage in May, and I am going to be an emotional wreck. An emotional wreck. Flat out. All right, let's get some of these scores. Anthony Solomon, 34-13. Notre Dame. Marvin Bell, 31-17. Irish. D-Rock Irish, 27-13. Irish. Okay. Sean Paulus, I got. Notre Dame, 34. Oregon State, 13. Yes, very close to my prediction. Tom Balork says 21-17 Irish. Look, man, let me convince Henson, guys, really has me feeling like Oregon State is going to come out and really compete. I don't think they have the horses to hang for 4 quarters. But, man, Vince Henson really makes me feel like, this Oregon State squad is going to come out prepared. And they're going to make Notre Dame really play. Ryan Loftus, 49-17. Of course, we would hope that Notre Dame will play hard regardless of the opponent. B. Hart, 10-74, 34-10. I'm assuming 34-10 Notre Dame. Tristan Marks, 28-13. I'm assuming Irish. Vanilla Chill, 34-17. Irish. Ryan Loftus says, blowout is going down. Everybody, we appreciate it for the congrats to Left and his family. Absolutely. We appreciate you guys. Tyler Benj, 31. Lilo Galante, my guy. I saw your comment about, hey, man, you already know. Connor Bedard is the real deal. That's all I need to say. Connor Bedard is the real deal. We're talking NHL MVP in the next 3 years. Connor Bedard is the real deal. They just got to get some talent around him. That's all. They have to get talent around the kid. Yes, Michael Parks, I agree. Definitely look out for trick plays tomorrow. K-Mac says 105-3 Notre Dame. Man, can they put the sticks down? 105. Coach Henson is going, man, you have to give up that stick, bro. You're going to have to give up that joystick. If it gets to 50, give up that joystick. Good Lord. Can you imagine if Steve Angeli and Notre Dame puts up 50 tomorrow? Woo, that post-game show is going to be bananas. And dude, you guys know I am very neutral on the Riley Leonard situation. If Steve Angeli, you guys can prepare. If Steve Angeli puts up 50 points tomorrow, you already know Left is going to go crazy on the transfer portal thing. Now, you already know. That would probably send him over the edge. Like, dude, I told you what we had in the room. He would probably go over the edge. Yes, Tom, Malik will explode. If Steve Angeli puts up 50 points tomorrow, man, that dude will go insane on the post-game show. insane. John Massey, that's funny. You're gonna miss yelling at Maris missing assignments. Oh man. Oh man. You guys are the best, man. Hey, that's a good bet. That's a pretty good best bet. Go Irish Nate. Defense, special teams will be good for 14 points. Larry is pretty much saying that's not going to happen. He's going to be quiet as a mouse. Eric Spadell, thank you for the super chat, man. 42 zip. We're going into 2024 smoking. Go Irish. I couldn't agree more. Lucky Lefty podcast. Let's get to a couple of questions, man. We got to the super chat already. I got John Massey. Do you guys think the administration is starting to turn the corner? They paid dollars for Mike Denbrock and even allowed a non-graduate transfer in. I think when Marcus Freeman met with the media and he let us in on the fact that the conversations that needed to be had with the administration have been ongoing for over a year, going back to the middle of last season. And I think the recognition by Marcus Freeman of what needs to take place, the willingness to have the tough conversations, and then being willing to step out in front in certain situations and, for lack of a better phrase right now, kind of fall on his sword in front of everybody, bought him a lot of credit in this Mike Denbrock situation. And I think it buys him a lot of credit moving forward as well. I really do. And with the changing of the guard with Pete Pavakwa and his willingness to understand marketing, sales, promotion, taking the program to the next level, exposing the program even more than what Jack Swarbrick did in building up the brand. And he did a really good job. He did a fantastic job. There's a lot of flaws and faults where we can point to Jack Swarbrick, but he took Notre Dame as far as he could take Notre Dame, to the best of his capabilities and the best of what he believed in. And he had enough integrity to say, we need to go further, but I might not be the right guy to do it. So you have to tip your cap for that and tip your cap for the way the administration quickly handled. You heard Marcus Freeman say that, the way they moved quickly. That's huge. It wasn't just the fact that they got Mike Denbrock and did what they needed to do. They moved quickly in doing so. And I think that is a direct reflection of Marcus Freeman, him identifying what needed to happen, him being willing to have the tough conversations, and the administration getting on board and saying, yo, we have to have our head coaches back moving forward. And they showed that. That's a great question. Appreciate the question. Great show today. Appreciate you guys. Man, we're back at it tomorrow morning. I'll post what time we're going to be on, myself and Malik. He'll have his keys to a dub, his clean sheet. We'll get his prediction. And then we'll talk some other stuff, man, and have fun. We might even have a guest on to talk about the matchup. You know, as always, you know what time it is.
Petticoat, 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 Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty history? Petty Junction.
That's right. Petty Junction, Petty Story today brought to you by ONORA Whiskey at NORAWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey at NORAWhiskey.com. Petty Junction. Normally, we laugh, we joke, but today on a Petty Junction, man, I just feel like It's really not a laughing matter, man. It's really sad that in the age that we live in, the times that we live in, that we still have to deal with some of the same crap, man. Some of the same crap. Jalen Milroe is a starting quarterback for Alabama. He's not your typical quarterback. He's very unconventional. But he talks about his former offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien, who I think is absolutely horrible. And I've heard he's a bad person. I think he's even worse as a coach. Jalen Milroe, take it away. I'll get to it on the other side.
You know, all my life, even when I was in college, my own offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien, told me I shouldn't play quarterback. So, you know, there's a lot of things I can, you know, have motivation on, and that is something I have motivation from.
What was your reaction to Bill O'Brien telling you that you shouldn't play quarterback? Do you remember how you felt when he said that?
How would you feel if I told you you suck?
Probably wouldn't like it.
Okay then, so that's exactly how I felt, you know what I'm saying? So like, biggest thing for me, be true to myself and, you know, stay the same. You know, nothing changed about me. The only thing that changed me was I had the opportunity and I seized it. And so for me, you know, the biggest thing was just stay true to myself and, you know, add a bigger purpose to anyone's opinion.
Is there a position he wanted you to play or said you should be this position or that position, or he just...
I mean, he told me a bunch of business I could have switched to, but look where I'm at right now. So, you know what I'm saying? So who gets the last laugh?
Bravo. Bravo, Jalen Milroe. 2023, we still have idiots that don't want to coach. We still have idiots that don't want to coach and have the nerve to tell young men what they can't do when your job is to pull the best out of them. And we're still doing this unconventional type quarterback, typecasting stuff, still in 2023. Same stuff Jalen Hurts heard. Same, Lamar Jackson was told at the combine, change positions. You saw what he did to Brock Purdy and the 49ers, right? He's fresh off a Heisman, gets to the combine. He's told by the Bill O'Briens, the Bill Polians, you can't play quarterback in the NFL. You need to change positions. This type of stuff still exists, people. And it's sad. It's absolutely sad. I talked about this the other day. I feel like the transfer portal is making coaches lazy. Because when you have to develop players, you have to coach. They want ready-made players. That's why they're going in the transfer portal so hard. Some of it is business, right? The pressure to win games, right? Having players that can make an impact quicker. I understand that part. But what happened to embracing the job of coaching? Vince Henson, you saw it today, the situation he's in. He's not even going to be the head coach for Oregon. He's an interim head coach. He knows the situation he has facing Notre Dame. He knows they have more horses. He knows he has major guys opting out. He knows he has a third-string quarterback. But he doesn't want to hear any of that talk of underdog. He's a competitor. He's embracing the opportunity of coaching against Notre Dame and leading his team to victory. That's what a coach is supposed to do. And you have this clown that actually has a job in the NFL. No wonder the quarterbacks for the Patriots are so bad. No wonder their offense is putrid. Because you have an idiot like Bill O'Brien. It's ridiculous. Bravo to you, Jalen Milroe. And everybody out there. This is a life lesson. Let me tell you something, guys. Everybody watching. You are good soil. Don't ever let anybody tell you that greatness can't come out of you. You are good soil. You are worthy of the seed that's been poured into you and the things and the talents and the gifts that have been given to you. You're good. So go pursue greatness. Go get it. Go possess it. It's yours. You can do it. Don't ever let anybody tell you you can't be what you want to be. It's not just about Jalen Milroe. This is about everybody. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't. The fact that you're you is good enough. Be you. That's good enough. Lucky Lefty Podcast. Peace, love, happiness. Until tomorrow morning, I'm ending on that note. Make sure you have a great night and continue to spin it different. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning.